This thing on?
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of The Cut. I am your host, Christian Williams, and I am here, as always, with Randy Hall. Randy, how are you, man?
Doing good, man. A long and exciting day. Tomorrow will be the last stream I do from this room for a few months, at least. So, exciting times.
Very good. We are also joined by Sean Ward. How are you, man?
What's going on? It feels weird to be on back-to-back episodes, but happy to be here, like I said.
3 straight.
Yeah, it's gonna be 3 straight once I joined the live show for the first round of the draft. But no, I'm excited. I'm glad to be back, and this is always fun doing draft stuff.
Good stuff. All right, so if you guys joined us earlier this week on Monday, we did round 1 of our mega mock draft. You'll notice Adam is not with us. Hopefully he's recovering out there, but he wasn't feeling well, so he's not. We're gonna announce his picks as we get through them.
Yep.
But we have a lot of.
Yeah, we're just going to run through. The first round will be in the description of this episode. So if you just want to go look through on there, that'll be the easiest way to save time for us because we're trying to be quick. Just so you guys.
For Adam, it was weird. Like the beard, I feel like the beard might have had something to do with the COVID. I've never seen him like that before.
That's true. That's the thickest beard he's ever had.
Oh, no.
All right. We need to get into round 2 of the mega mock because we are doing rounds 2 and 3 today. And we are kicking it off. I was first, right? This is me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. So at 33, I had the Jacksonville Jaguars take Tyler Smith, the offensive tackle out of Tulsa. My one note on this is, so we gave them Aiden Hutchinson in the first round, and I think that one of these picks is going to be a tackle to appease Doug Peterson, because I think Doug Peterson really wants an offensive tackle. So Tyler Smith still being there, I don't know if that's how the draft actually shakes out, but he is here, and that's where I went. Randy, you're on the clock.
And he could play inside if he needs to early on. Lions at 34. They're going to Kobe Dean here. They might like their linebacking room. I do not. Kobe Dean would be their best linebacker.
And I gave him the quarterback of the future at 32.
You did.
That's the wrong one. Yeah, go ahead. All right,
Sean.
All right, so this is Adam's pick at 35 for the New York Jets. So after they walked away day 1 with Kayvon Thibodeau and Drake London, they tackle another part of their defense in the secondary, who I know Christian is big on, Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson, their cornerback. That's who Adam has them taking, and I think there is a shot that when it's all said and done, that Booth could end up being the best cornerback out of this class between him, Stingley, Trent McDuffie, those guys. And then for my pick, you'll find a common theme here with my picks, especially in the second round. I kind of went with Christian's, the guys that he loves the most, because at 36, the New York Giants select Trey McBride, tight end out of Colorado State. Evan Ingram's gone. He's with the Jaguars now. There's a really big hole with that. They need weapons. Giants need almost everything. They need weapons. Trey McBride, by far the best tight end in this class, so they add him to the team.
I like that pick. It's a really good fit. It's something that not many people have talked about at 36 for the Giants, but I think that's a sleeper. I think that's where the first tight end comes off. 37, I am on the clock with the Houston Texans, and Boye Mafe kind of slid in this mock draft. I think if Arnold Ebiketie goes in the first round, then Boye Mafe will not, and vice versa. I think that is just one of the edges that sneaks in there, but in this one, Boye is still sitting there at 37, so I gave him to the Texans, and with the Texans' first 2 picks, we gave them Evan Neal and Jordan Davis. And so they didn't get one of the premier edge rushers and still get a really, really good edge here at the top of the second.
Yeah, they're set. Speaking of set, I have the Jets here at 38 from the Sam Darnold trade. They will, in this draft, got Kevin Thibodeau, Drake London, and then Sean just gave them, or Adam just gave them Andrew Booth Jr. I'm giving them their fourth possible best player of the position group in Daxton Hill, the safety for Michigan, who is also kind of a slot corner as well. This absolutely transforms the Jets, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Daxton Hill, I think, is going to the first round.
I think so.
It's going to be close. There's going to be a few of these guys that are going to be either top of the second or back end of the first. Daxton Hill, with his versatility, I think is going to the first. This is an absolute steal of a draft from the Jets. That's how you know it won't actually happen. But yeah,
facts. All right, and you're on the clock for Adam's pick.
Shit. The Bears, to screw over every other wide receiver needed team here because they also desperately need receiver. Take Jahan Dotson, the wide receiver from Penn State, to pair with Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet and Montgomery for the future of this team. That's a really good young starting core. I think this puts them a little bit in the category of like the Lions last year with a little bit better quarterback. So we'll see how that plays out.
And the Browns fan in me who had picked 44 cried a little bit inside, like I will on Friday if this happens.
Absolutely.
We're gonna talk about that. There's no way Dotson's on their board, but we don't have time for that.
Well, yeah,
we'll talk
the
about
Browns.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then moving on to pick 40. Here's where it gets a little bit ironic because this is the pick that the Seahawks got from the Broncos in the Russell Wilson trade. And with that pick, the Seahawks draft their quarterback of the future, quarterback Sam Howell out of the University of North Carolina. I think he comes in right away, competes with Drew Lock, and I think he maybe even wins the job. I know Christian believes that talent-wise that Sam Howell is the best quarterback in this class, and I think the Seahawks, with back-to-back picks here, I think they definitely nab. I thought about maybe waiting, and they could maybe grab a Carson Strong with their pick in the third round at 72, but I think they pull the trigger on Sam Howell.
Yeah, they get baby Russell Wilson here in the second to replace Russell Wilson. Seahawks have back-to-back picks at 40 and 41, and I am on the clock with their second pick here. And why not go ahead and get yourself a good tackle to kind of help the Sam Howell transition? You've got good weapons there for him, and now I'm adding Bernard Raymond, the offensive tackle out of Central Michigan. I think that the league is going to love this kid. He's super, super athletic. He's raw at the position in terms of the fact that he's only played there for literally 2 seasons. And so the Seahawks have a need at offensive tackle, and Sam Howell needs some good protection. We do know that for a fact. So I had to go ahead and give them one. So.
Yeah, and they don't value the tackle offensive line position well enough to go at 9 where they should. So they're going to go, Tyler Smith, Rainman, Penning, Falele, whoever is here. And I think this is the right pick. So 42 for the Colts for me from the Commanders in the Carson Wentz deal. They get a wide receiver of the future to kind of do what they wanted Paris Campbell to always do, and Sky Moore, wide receiver from Western Michigan, to once again just shit down the throats of the Browns, hoping to get receiver. He would help transition this offense into being elite with Matt Ryan at the helm. Obviously, it's a different type of receiver than Michael Pittman as well, so it really just helps to develop this offense, and it doesn't hinder the development of Paris Campbell if he can stay healthy too, because they can play different roles.
I like it. All right, Adam had the 43rd selection for the Atlanta Falcons, and he gave them Kaiir Elam, corner out of Florida. I really don't think that there's a shot that Kaiir is sitting here this late in the draft, to be honest, and his hype went crazy.
He's going 31. I have it penciled in right now.
Yeah.
He's going 31.
So I initially had
he could go earlier.
In a mock draft about a month ago, I had the Bengals trading up to get Kaiir Elam, and I'm really pissed I didn't do it. Now I believe the Cardinals taking him to just have an all Florida secondary, all Florida and Washington, I think. But yeah, so he's sitting there at 43, and Adam scooped him up for the Falcons, which makes sense. Pair him with AJ Terrell. They've got Casey Hayward. That's a pretty good secondary, and I think they can compete. So, and then Sean's on the clock.
Yeah, so this is the Browns' first pick in the draft after the Deshaun Watson trade, giving up their first-round pick. And I probably with this pick went more heart than head, seeing that who's there when it comes to defensive tackle still being on the board with Travis Jones, Logan Hall, guys of that nature still being on the board. But after seeing Sky Moore and Jahan Dotson go off the board within the last 5 or 6 picks for the Browns, I went ahead and drafted Christian Watson, the wide receiver out of North Dakota State. There's been a ton of hype around this guy the last couple of weeks. People think that he's right up there with those other guys that we mentioned, especially in the first round. The Browns, he was one of the guys that the Browns did bring in and meet with. I know he doesn't really hit the age threshold of what Andrew Berry looks for when he's drafting, but I do think that even though they're probably going to value defensive tackle also, I think that the need for a wide receiver is so great with this team, especially given if Landry doesn't re-sign with the Browns, that you still take the risk here. And I think Christian Watson makes sense for this pick, knowing that you have 2 other picks in the 3rd round that you can try to attack the defensive tackle position. 6'4", 208. He can play alongside Amari Cooper, and it finally gives the Browns the jump ball guy that they really haven't had in a very, very, very long time.
Yep. He may not fit the age score, but he fits the RAS score for the Browns, so it could still be a pick.
I'd be happy with it if the Browns walk away with that at 44.
What are you doing?
Do you have beef if I trade my picks here?
Who
Would you have drafted Travis Jones at 46?
No, they took. No, because I didn't take Travis Jones at 46.
Okay, I don't think Adam would have at 47, and I don't think Sean would have at 48. So what I want to do is the pick you called me out on, I want to fix it and then just give this player to my next pick.
You're on the clock, so just go with it.
I'm on the clock. All right. So at 45, I am going with Travis Jones, who should not be on the board, to the Baltimore Ravens. They selected Jermaine Johnson in the first round. He started to fall a little bit. And so then they are getting what is one of the best defensive tackle prospects in this class. Just an animal. He can play both 1 and 3 tech, and he is a perfect Raven, unfortunately. So
I take it back. Go back.
Yeah. So initially I gave them Lewis Seen because I didn't feel like he should be on the board, but Travis Jones is actually more egregious, I think. So
and it's a better fit.
Yes.
46 for the Minnesota Vikings. They got Kyle Hamilton at 12, which is egregious as it is. They get Kyler Gordon here at 46 from Washington, the corner. Just reinvent the secondary. Get 2 pieces of the future with your 2 vet studs to train them up and get them in the right spots for the future. I think this is a slam dunk draft so far for the Vikings if this is how it plays out.
Yeah, just ridiculous. All right, Sean, you're on the clock for Adam.
You're back.
Yep. So Adam has the 47th pick for the Commanders, and with that pick, he has them taking Jalen Petrie, a safety / cornerback out of Baylor University. And there's the Commanders definitely have a need at that position. When you look at their starting safeties right now are Bobby McClain and Cameron Curl. No more Landon Collins. Where did Collins go?
I don't recall.
He is not signed yet.
Okay, so no more Landon Collins. So they kind of take the guy to take over for him. And I've seen a lot of stuff about how there's a possibility that he could be the best safety in this draft.
Yeah, I will say there's an outside chance that Adam would have taken Lewis Seen here if he was on the board. So we'll throw that out there. So we'll say,
but either way, it probably would have been a safety, right?
We'll say this pick and then Christian's next pick could or interchangeable here.
Yeah, which honestly better fits for both. Sorry, go ahead, John.
Yeah,
no, you're good. So it's back to me for the Bears at 48. This is from the Khalil Mack trade. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So the Bears are making their second pick in the draft after they took Jahan Dotson, and with this pick, they address their offensive tackle position and take Daniel. Is it Falele?
Yeah.
Okay. Out of the University of Minnesota. I mean, the dude's just a huge. He's just a huge person. He's 6'8", 384, and he can play right tackle. The Bears still need to address that offensive line. Tevin Jenkins is probably going to start at one of the spots, but Falele could be a guy that kind of takes over for Jason Peters. Like Jason Peters is obviously getting old. He had dealt with a lot of injury issues last year. So Falele could be the guy to take over for Jason Peters at right tackle. For the love of God, keep getting Justin Fields help.
Yes, please. So you get more Ohio Bear fans.
Yeah, big facts. All right, 49, the New Orleans Saints are on the clock, and I am taking Lewis Cine here. This was the trade I made. I initially gave them Travis Jones. I think they have a need at defensive tackle, but I also think that they lost a fantastic safety. There's still an outside shot that they sign Honey Badger. I don't think it happens, but in the first round of this draft, they took Jameson Williams and Kenny Pickett. Time to attack the defense, and Lewis Cine is a perfect iteration or a perfect exemplification of what the Saints look for in a safety. Yeah, I guess so.
And this allows them to use Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in multiple sets as they like to use, instead of forcing him to play safety only, which is what they have to do right now if this is their current roster. I get the Chiefs, and unfortunately, I have been given the great task in this mock of giving the Chiefs amazing players, which is bullshit. Christian gave them Trent McDuffie, their corner from Washington the first. I gave them George Pickens to reinvent this wide receiver room. Here, they get David Ojabo, which is bullshit. He won't play for them for mostly this year, maybe the playoffs. Just like the Titans with Jeffrey Simmons, when they drafted him, he didn't really get involved until he rotated in during the last couple of weeks. And in the playoffs, I think that's what you'd envision, hopefully, for David Ojabo, or just a full red shirt. The Chiefs are a team that can afford that luxury, especially at the edge position, where they definitely need D-line help, but I think they'd be willing to wait. And I think he could still go in the first, but this is realistic with the injury, and he needs to go to a team that doesn't absolutely need edge desperately day one. And the Chiefs are one of those teams, which again is bullshit. But because this is ridiculous at this point. It's only going to get worse, by the way. The Eagles for Adam. So he got to pick for the Eagles again here. He went with Jaquan Brisker, the safety from Penn State. An absolutely amazing pick for the Eagles, in my opinion. I'm sure Adam would agree. Their safety room is lackluster. This defensive scheme with this defensive coordinator, whose name is escaping me at the moment because I'm trying to talk fast, it really hinges on good safety play, which they do not have. And their safeties also had to play, 20, 25 yards back last year. I think Brisker gives them the ability to do that, as well as having him play a little bit closer. They get to be a little bit more scheme versatile and become a better defense. He helps transition this defense into what they want to have for the future. So perfect pick.
Yeah, their secondary is on paper bad, not good, and they need to start filling that. Sorry, Sean.
I don't think they actually have a safety in the room for this scheme, which is crazy.
It's not good.
And so I'm back on the clock here with pick 52 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I had them address their quarterback situation in round one with taking Desmond Ridder at 20. The only good thing as Browns fans about those picks are once you see, is it seen? How do you say? Seen. So once you see him and Brisker come off the board, the Steelers still have a need at safety. And that was kind of what I was thinking. But then once Brisker came off the board, I had them attack a different position. I have them taking Phidarian Mathis, the defensive tackle out of Alabama. They do have a need there. I mean, they have Cam Hayward, but Cam Hayward is obviously starting to kind of run out of the age there, as along with Stephon Tuitt. They need some depth, particularly on the inside of that line. And Phidarian Mathis is just a huge human being at 6'4", 310. He got a lot better as a pass rusher last year, and he can get to the quarterback. Unfortunately, this is still a really good pick for the Steelers defense, regardless of them not being able to take a safety. So they take Mathis.
They don't make bad picks, so you're fine.
Yeah, facts. Also, they did bring back Terrell Edmonds this week, so I think they're kind of hedging their
basically league minimum.
But they still probably would take a safety if one of those guys was still there.
Oh yeah,
but that's why they brought it back, is what he's saying. This exact situation.
Yeah,
where they get
right, exactly. If they get snipes, right.
Yeah. I am on the clock with the Green Bay Packers, and this is the pick that they received. Well, one of the picks they received from the Raiders for the Devontae Adams trade. And for some reason, so I think this player is going in the first round. All signs are kind of pointing to this, but that's just not how this board has fallen. And I honestly don't think that he should go in the first round. But Quay Walker sitting here, the linebacker from Georgia, ultra athletic, big enough to get off blocks. We've talked about him on this show before. He does a lot of things really well. Randy is a Quay over Channing Tyndall type of guy. I am not, but I understand that the NFL is definitely going to like the guy that started and has 3-down ability with some development. So Quay Walker to the Packers, they do have a little bit of a need at linebacker, though they definitely locked down their long-term linebacker.
They have one linebacker that we
Devontae
care
Campbell.
about. This
Devontae
helps them reinvent possibly defensive packages, which is good. Patriots here at 54. After Christian gave them the wrong linebacker at 21, I'm going to make the right pick at corner for them here with Roger McQuarrie, the corner from Auburn. There is some, arm length concerns and everything, but when you watch him play anywhere, whether that was at Auburn or Senior Bowl, he absolutely kills it. He's going to fit very, very well with the Patriots. They need cornerback desperately. They need linebacker and corner desperately as well as receiver, but we could only fill holes one at a time. And this is a really good start for the Patriots draft.
Yeah, I like that pick. I am on the clock for Adam with the Arizona Cardinals here at pick 55. In the first round, he gave them Arnold Ebiketie, and here he gives them Cam Taylor-Britt, the corner out of NC State. I don't like either of those picks, if I'm being honest, for what their value is, but they do have a need at corner. They do have a need at edge. And so at least they're filling some needs. And honestly, Steve Keim sucks at this. So this is pretty realistic.
Yeah. For the hits that we've had on this Cardinals roster, their best players are either the first overall pick or they traded for him, plain and simple. They have not been terrific drafters over the last couple of years. Even if we do love Isaiah Simmons, they haven't used him correctly. And this is a Cardinals pick, and they just a full middle finger to Kyler. So I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that.
All right. So then now for me, I happen to have the Cowboys pick again. Again, no freaking idea what they were going to do here. They could have taken a receiver, just like they could have taken a receiver in round 1, but they did settle for Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. So for this pick, with the guys like Watson and Sky Moore and Jahan Dotson off the board, I had them address the linebacker position. Right now, they're looking at Micah Parsons and Leighton Vander Esch, and they need some depth in that. So I have them selecting Chad Muma, the linebacker out of Wyoming. He really fits the mold. He's like Leighton Vander Esch in the way that he plays. He's 6'3", 239. That kind of pick just screams Cowboys linebacker when you look at guys like Vander Esch and Sean Lee. I think Muma does go here if they have the choice between him and Leo Chanel. And Channing Tyndall. I do think that they go with Chad Muma here.
Yeah, and he's a more athletic version of Vander Esch as well. And you got to remember, they haven't drafted an edge at this point, so this is making Micah Parsons be more of a full-time edge rusher than linebacker. So this is a perfect complement to that scenario. Christian, sorry, I thought I was up next. My bad.
Yeah, so I kind of overlooked a player here. For what it's worth, I would have taken Leo Chanel had I realized that he was still there, but I didn't, and because I lost track of time and the linebackers that were gone. But I did take Channing Tyndall to the Buffalo Bills. I think he kind of fits what they're looking for too. They're not looking for starters at linebacker. Channing Tyndall never did that, but what he does offer is just incredibly nice closing speed, and I think that with some development, you've got an incredibly, incredibly athletic linebacker that can rotate in with your studs that you already have there. So,
he's fucking trained. He's a good third down linebacker for sure, day one, and that's what they need to help out in this linebacking room.
Honestly, he's probably a better fit than Chanel there. It's just I would take the talent
because of starting.
Yeah.
All right, Falcons at 58. They've picked a lot of people. I can't remember at this point. I think it's Garrett Wilson and Kyrie Elam. That's fantastic so far. Here at 58, from the Tennessee Titans for Julio Jones, I believe. They get Josh Pascal, the edge from Kentucky. This is a fantastic pick for them for upside from the edge position. They passed on that in the first to go for an upside receiver of the future, which I think is a good move as well. I think that's the right pick for Sean's sake. That is, and getting one of the better corners. Like this is an incredible draft for the Falcons, and they've put off the quarterback, which is what they seem to want to do anyways. Slowly do this rebuild for a year and see if Mariota deserves to run the team. I think this is the perfect way to do this. You need so much help on this defense, and you need so much help on the offense. So you got to do as much as possible.
Yeah, I like that pick. All right, Sean, you're on the clock for Adam.
Yep. So with the Packers at 22, we had them select George Karlaftis, and then they did take I had them Treylon Burks at 28. So they did address both the edge rusher position and wide receiver, which were two very big needs for them. So with the 59th pick, Adam has them taking Abraham Lucas, a offensive tackle out of Washington State. And he's a big dude, 6'6", 315. He's very good in zone offense, and he had one of the quickest 3-cone times out of all offensive linemen at the combine. So Aaron Rodgers gets some help there on the offensive line.
So this is quietly one of my favorite picks because right now they're slated to put Elton Jenkins at left tackle or right tackle opposite Bakhtiari, but this would allow them to keep Jenkins at his best position, which is somewhere on the interior, and then kick Lucas out to right tackle. Like that would be great.
Yeah, I think this is an offensive lineman spot. Either it's Abraham Lucas or it's, maybe like Dylan Parham or, it's either take a guard or tackle who are best available. I think Lucas may be the best overall player available in the offensive line here, so kills it.
All right, Sean, you're on the clock for yourself.
Yep. So Tampa Bay, I remember I did ask you guys about this. So in the first round, Adam had them take Tyler Linderbaum out of Iowa, and Adam's idea of it, they had him. They're going to have him move to guard, which that kind of tackles the biggest need for the Buccaneers. And so I was considering Parham here, but once they took Linderbaum to move and plan on moving him to guard, my pick for them is Logan Hall, the defensive tackle out of Houston. He's a very good interior pass rusher, and he's big enough to play inside, even though he played edge at Houston. It looks like he did a little bit of both, but he's a good, he's lean enough that he has a high center of gravity. So I had them taking Logan Hall, and because right now Tampa Bay doesn't know what's going on with Ndamukong Suh. They haven't re-signed him. I don't think they're going to, and Logan Hall can kind of step in and fill that role with Vita Vea.
Yeah, and they still could, even with this draft. They brought in Logan Hall for top 30 visit. They love him. I think this is a slam dunk pick. I think they might even trade up for this.
One of my sleepers to fall into the back of the first two. I think teams
to them specifically too.
Or the Packers. I think they might like him as well.
Possibly,
depending.
Could even be the Bengals, honestly, but still.
Oh yeah,
I digress.
All right, 61 49ers. I am on the clock. Dylan Parham, interior offensive line from Memphis. Perfect zone scheme fit, perfect fit for this offense. Center, guard, flexibility. He can play at either position. Needs to develop a bit of an anchor. That really won't matter because they're going to run the shit ton out of the ball. So,
and they lost a guard who I can't recall at the time.
Lakin.
They lost a starting guard, so this is perfect.
Yep.
All right, Chiefs. Like I said, I keep picking for the Chiefs. I keep giving them studs. Unfortunately for everyone, Perion Winfrey, the D-tack from Oklahoma, probably shouldn't be on the board. I think Perion Winfrey and Logan Hall, it's that same guy that I was thinking. Bucks love. Other teams are going to love. They might not be on the board here, but he's here at 62. The Chiefs just keep winning. They keep getting – this is ridiculous. They should not be able to get Perion Winfrey to pair with Chris Jones and David Ojabo for the future. This is bullshit, but this is phenomenal fit for them.
Yeah, and Chiefs do this, so makes sense.
All right, I'm on the clock for Adam.
Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, well, he could work out still. I don't think they've used him right, and he's been hurt.
Ronald Jones, season Randall.
Christian's hoping. He's fucking hoping for that contract league too, asshole. I was fucking right in the first year on that trade.
No, because Michael Carter's going to have Breece Hall to battle with. But
he's not in this one. Bengals at 63 for Adam. Had them taking Nick Cross, the safety from Maryland. I believe they franchise tagged Jesse Bates. However, the other safety is decent, but also kind of revolving door right now. I don't think they've locked on who they want for safety for the foreseeable future. I think this gives them an uber athletic upside pick here. And honestly, Nick Cross gives them a shot of him playing a little bit of slot corner as well for them, which they need corner help desperately as well. Uh, we completely fixed their offensive line, the first round with Kenyon Green for Adam with that pick as well. Here he gives him help in the secondary.
Sean.
Yep. And then with the last pick of the second round, Denver's first pick in the draft is the 32nd pick in the second round. So they have a pretty big need at cornerback. With they did pick Patrick Surtain, and he worked out pretty well for them last year. But their older corner is Ronald Darby. So with this pick, I have them taking Tariq Woolen, cornerback out of UTSA, 6'4", 205. He's a guy that he's good at getting off blocks. He can make tackles, and I think that you pair him alongside. Eventually, you pair him alongside Patrick Surtain, and that's a pretty good secondary. It's not the Browns secondary, but it's a good secondary.
The Browns secondary is only as good because of injury history, though. If we're being honest,
that is true. But I'm glad they re-signed Denzel.
100%.
Yeah, this is a good upside pick for a team that has the ability to do that because on paper they're really freaking good. All right, I'll kick off the third round with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I know they have Evan Ingram. I know they got some nice production out of the tight end room, but Doug Peterson is a guy that likes having multiple tight ends. We know that from his time in Philly. And so I am giving them Greg Dulcich, the tight end out of UCLA. I think that there's a shot that he goes higher than this. The teams are in love with his ability to catch the football. He reminds me of Hayden Hurst when he reminds me of Hayden Hurst coming out. And while Hayden Hurst hasn't really worked out, why are you looking at me?
I would have went with the Mark Andrews of that class, but not because of how it worked out, but coming out, Hayden Hurst was just the better one. That's why I got picked earlier.
Right. Yeah, well, I just think that he's not going to give you much blocking, and that's fine for this Jaguars team. Neither is Evan Ingram. And honestly, Hayden Hurst doesn't block that well. I get it though. All right,
it's
let's
fine.
move on. 66.
Honestly, I think he's more in the mold of like Goddard and Ertz and Andrews. Like maybe he's never going to be that high of a tight end in fantasy, but he's of that mold. And I think obviously Doug Peterson's going to fucking just over that. Lions here. Lions getting Traylon Walker, Matt Corral, Nakobe Dean, get John Mechie III, the wide receiver for Bama here. I think you have Amon-Ra, the future of this receiving core. I think Chark is incredible for this year on that deal. I'm not sure he's in the long-term plans of this team. John Mechie and Amon-Ra St. Brown is a fucking fun combo to have for the future. Obviously, I think you need more of a big body deep shot guy in that room for the future. And I know that's Chark right now, not necessarily the big body part, but this helps you build the entire arsenal at wide receiver. And he's sure-handed. He can take over games when he need it. This is exactly what this Lions wide receiver room needs.
Yeah, I still think they go one later in the first, but I get it. We didn't do that.
They very well could, but it's not where they went, asshole.
I know. Right, so Giants are on the clock here at 67. They started the draft with Sauce Gardner and Ike Ekwonu, and then they followed that up in the second with Trey McBride. And here Adam gave them Nick Bonito, the edge out of Oklahoma. Fantastic pick. This would give them a pretty terrifying edge rushing room with Quincy Roche, Aziz Ojulari, and now Nick Bonito, who can be a third down pass rusher to start. But I actually think that he's going to be more than that in the NFL. I think he's a fantastic player. Shouldn't be here in the third, but size concerns make it make sense. So,
second year in a row where they get a player falling because of size and concerns, and it works out for him.
Yep. All right, Sean.
So I'm on the clock with the Texans at 68. When it got to me, Randy texted me and said that this was the most obvious pick so far in the draft. He just wanted to make sure I made the right one. So with the 68th pick, after the Texans had already taken Evan Neal, the offensive tackle, as well as taking Jordan Davis at 13, and then following it up by getting Boy Mafe in the second round. In the third round, they select Kenneth Walker the third. running back out of Michigan State. This was pretty easy for me because the Texans need everything, including running back. Running back is a need, and to have every other running back on the board still except for Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker is a pretty easy pick here for them to take over an Isaiah Spiller. And this just makes so much sense because Kenneth Walker could come in and finally be the guy. The last guy they had in Houston was Arian Foster. So he could come in and be Arian Foster.
Yeah, it's a good pick. Clearly, Randy thinks so as well, since he texted. All right, so the Jets are on the clock here. They started with Kayvon at 4, Drake London at 10, Andrew Booth at 35, and Daxton Hill at 38. Just a ridiculous first 38 picks. And it gets even more ridiculous here because they get a freaking sideline to sideline, even good in coverage linebacker in Brian Asamoah, kid out of Oklahoma. I think he's better than this draft position, but I also think that this linebacker class might be viewed in a weird way because he does have size concerns as well. I don't think the Jets care. I think this is their Fred Warner of that defense, and they're excited about that.
All right. Jaguars on the clock here from a Carolina Panthers trade that I can't think of right now at the top of my head. Like why this is their pick, but I mean they've kind
of the corner. The corner.
Henderson.
CJ Henderson. Yeah. Sorry.
Smart here. That's honestly perfect trade by the Panthers, which I never get to actually say. Aiden Hutchinson, Tyler Smith, and Greg Dulcich so far for the Jaguars. I give them to Marvin Leal, the D-tackle from Texas A&M here. I kind of think he goes in the second, but with how the D-tackles fell in the second, he's not going, in my opinion, before Logan Hall and Perion Winfrey. So he falls to the third tier. Jaguars get a really good player. He has some holes in his game, obviously why he's going day 2 instead of day 1, like a lot of people thought preseason. But he does have a lot of developmental upside for the Jaguars, which is what they need.
Good pick. All right, Sean, you're on the clock for Adam.
Yep. So with the next pick, it's the Bears. I lost track there. So we already had them taking Jahan Dotson and Isaiah Falele. So they attacked
Daniel Falele.
Daniel, sorry, I don't know why.
I got you. It's just it was so weird to hear.
No,
my head was like, nope, wrong.
I don't know where I got that from, but yeah. So we have them taking wide receiver and offensive tackle, potential replacement for Jason Peters. So Adam, with this pick, he has them taking Marcus Jones, cornerback out of Houston. Jones is a smaller corner. He's a nickel guy. He did return 3 punts for touchdown. He returned 3 punts and 6 kickoff returns for touchdowns in college. So he's more of a nickel corner, but he can be a return guy for the Bears. And the Bears really do have needs in the secondary.
Oh yeah. His size is definitely the only thing pushing him down. People say that if he's 6 feet tall, he's probably a first round pick. So
I considered Marcus Jones for that Denver pick at the end of the second.
Yeah. All right, you're on the clock again.
Yep. So for me, it's back to the Seattle Seahawks, and Christian and I went back to back, having them taking their quarterback of the future in Sam Howell, as well as Bernard Raymond out of offensive tackle out of Central Michigan. So with this pick, I felt that the Seahawks are going to tackle their edge rushing need, and I had them taking Cam Thomas, the edge rusher out of San Diego State. He's a very good pass rusher, and he has very good technique with his hands. And I figured that it makes sense because he's a group of 5 guy, but the Seahawks love taking those kind of players, especially when it comes to defense. And for me, it was the kind of best available edge rusher off the board after Pascal and DeMarvin Leal went relatively close to this pick. So Cam Thomas.
All right, I like it. I'm on the clock with the Indianapolis Colts from Washington for the Carson Wentz trade. And here, Colts have a lot of needs. The wide receivers, though, that we were looking at didn't really fit very well with what I think they do need. And so
they got Sky Moore last round, too. So
big facts. Yep, they did. And so I gave them their offensive tackle that they desperately need, although I don't think this player should start at left tackle immediately. But Nicholas Petit-Frere, the offensive tackle out of Ohio State, anchoring concerns are there, but I also think that, he's better than what they currently have. So,
Yeah. All right. 74 for the Falcons. Again, they've
this is
gotten
a
a lot of
pick I should
stuff.
have made.
Yeah. Well, it's a hit or miss. I took Sean Ryan, interior offensive lines, kind of slash offensive tackle from UCLA. I think he projects more as a guard at the next level, which is why I think this is the order. Should have went Frere to the Colts, who projects more as a tackle, which they need. Guard is what the Falcons need and what they think they need for the future. They think they have their tackles of the future, at least the immediate future. So Sean Ryan can come in and probably start day one at guard. Worst case, fight for it and be your rotational 6 offensive lineman. Fantastic pick for the Falcons, who, again, are a dog shit team.
They just need everything.
Yes. 75 for the Broncos. This is Adam's pick, obviously, as we've stated a bunch of times. But Broncos here take Drake Jackson, the edge from USC, who's still on the board. He's been getting some late smoke about going back in the first round of late. I think that's overblown. That's where he was supposed to be, and he has never truly broken out. So I think he goes day 2. It could have been last round. I think most likely he probably goes second round just because of some teams falling in love with the potential of the guy. But he's never truly broken out, so he falls here to the Broncos, who have 2 starting edge rushers and don't even really need Drake Jackson. But he gives them a lot of leeway, and they've been really banged up at edge rusher of the last few years as well. So getting this kind of impact play and having him and having guys like him and Barry Browning who can also be rotational extra edge rushers and blitzers in different packages, this absolutely elevates this Broncos defense even further, which, again, not fucking fair. The AFC West is ridiculous, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, Sean.
Yep. So it's back to me with the Baltimore Ravens. So after Christian made that trade, he had the Ravens taking Travis Jones with the 45th pick. So now I'm back on the clock with them for the 76th pick. And for this one, I had them taking Martin Emerson, cornerback out of Mississippi State. He's a bigger cornerback. He creates separation. He only had 1 interception at Mississippi State, but he's a good tackler and he's a good run defender. He just kind of strikes me as a guy that would work well with what they have in Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, to be more of a tackler and he's a longer guy that can deflect passes more than he looks for interceptions.
Yeah, I really liked Emerson's film. He's I guess this is a good range for him. But 77 Minnesota Vikings, I had them taking Luke Fortner, the center out of Kentucky. I don't think they're very pleased with Garrett Bradbury, and I think that they're justified in not being pleased with him because he hasn't played very well the last couple of years. And so Luke Fortner, not a flashy player at all, but also a guy that I think it kind of got outshined by the bigger names at Kentucky with Dare Rosenthal and who the hell is it? Darian Kennard.
Yeah, I was sitting here like I got no help. I forget.
Yeah. So they're upgrading the center position, and I actually think Fortner could kick over to guard if they need to. So some flexibility there.
Yep. All right, 78 for the Browns. I have them taking Leo Chanel. I think he goes second round to the Patriots because I think they got a corner in the first. However, I don't think he fits every need, like every team. I mean, I don't think his size and style of play fits every team. So that's why I do think there's certain teams that are going to draft him in the second round, but they didn't in this case, mainly because of Christian's mistake in the first round with the Patriots. Again, fuck you.
Understandable.
Yeah, but Leo Chanel is incredibly talented. In both me and Christian's opinion, should not be here at 78. And the Browns, while linebacker isn't the most desperate need for them, thanks to the incredible play of JLK last year and some good veteran help there, this is absolutely transcending the position for the future for the Browns.
There isn't that much depth. I mean, they re-signed Anthony Walker for a year, and they do have Jacob Phillips, but that's really it.
Yeah.
I mean, Sione Takitaki is who he is, and they got rid of Mac Wilson.
Yeah. This makes it so you're set at the position for the future, which is ridiculous.
I would love this haul. We talked about it before the show. I would love this haul if the Browns did come out with Watson, Chanel, and the guy that they take later on.
Yep.
All right, Adam's pick here, Los Angeles Chargers. I apparently didn't have the first round pick for the Chargers because I would have given them a wide receiver, but actually
did.
I did.
You did.
And I
You
did.
were lineman.
Yeah, you're right. It's because I got sniped. I recall now. Charles Cross is who they got in the first round.
Jameson
and then
Williams was
Yeah. And so here I have them selecting. Adam has them selecting Jalen Tolbert, another guy that can stretch the field, makes some sense to compete with Jalen Guyton. Speed guy, contested catch guy, drop issues, but whatever. And drops are drops. He'll catch them in the NFL. That's what they say, right?
Some people.
Yeah. I don't say that, but yeah. So it makes sense. It's a good pick, Adam. Good job.
Move on.
Yeah, so Adam kind of sniped me with the 80th pick for the Houston Texans. I was going to take Jalen Tolbert, but I had them after taking Kenneth Walker earlier in this round. I have with the 80th pick have them taking Calvin Austin the third. I don't know why, but I feel like that name has been in the National Football League before. I mean, maybe I'm thinking Tavon Austin and Calvin Johnson. For some reason, that just sounds like a football name of a receiver that's played in the league before. But I have them taking Calvin Austin the third out of Memphis. He's 5'8", 170. Basically, I think he fits the mold. When you look at who the Texans have in the receiving core after Brandon Cooks, it's Nico Collins and Chris Moore. Brandon Cooks could be that deep threat that goes up and gets footballs. We've seen him do it, where Calvin Austin is a guy that he had the most yards after the catch on shallow crossing routes in 2021, which was the most in Division I football. So this would make sense to pair with a guy like Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. Calvin Austin is either going to be out of the league after his first contract or he's going to be a superstar. That's what I think of him. So I ranked him accordingly, like right outside my top 10. 81, the Giants, this pick from the Dolphins for something I don't recall. Jamari Sawyer is the pick here, interior offensive line out of Georgia. He's a tackle technically, but he's not playing there at the NFL level. The Giants just need to keep beefing up. They need position after position, and I think Sawyer actually would come in and compete with Shane Lemieux to be their starting or left guard, I think. And if not, there's probably a need at right guard. I can't think of who they have at the other guard slot, so Sawyer probably starts.
He'd be competing. I think I took a guard. I took Sean Ryan. So worst case, they now have two guys that can play tackle and guard. So They guarantee their 6 offensive linemen basically. So that's smart. No, I had that. That's for the Falcons. I'm wrong. You're right. Sorry. I was on to the next pick. Falcons for me. I apologize. I have them from Indianapolis. So for Matt Ryan, they take Isaiah Spiller, the running back from Texas A&M. Didn't have great testing numbers, but he's got great tape, and he's going to be the best running back in this room day one, but he gives them some versatility to not run Cordell Patterson into the dirt. You know, exactly what Debo's trying to get out of San Francisco to avoid.
Yeah. All right. Adam's
Sean.
on the clock. Sean.
Yep. So with this pick, it's the 83rd pick. Adam had the Eagles taking Max Mitchell, a tackle out of Louisiana Lafayette. 6'6", 307.
Big.
Yeah, just a big dude. I didn't really do a lot of research on him, so I'm not really sure.
You don't need to break down all these guys at this point. It's just a big tackle, and he's actually a tackle, so it's a possible tackle in the future for the Eagles.
Also a day 3 guy and how he loves reaching, so it makes sense.
Perfect.
Yep.
And then right after that, it was my pick for the Steelers at 84, and I did have them take a tackle as well. I had them taking Luke. Is it Goedeke? Hey, I said that right. 6'5", 312 out of Central Michigan, and I think he could be a future tackle for them as a starter.
And if not, he could play guard too. He's got that ability. He's a good player. When I first watched him, I thought that he was actually better than Raymond, which is a hot take. And then I watched more. Exactly. You're absolutely right. All right, 85, the Patriots. I am on the clock now. And I have them taking Khalil Shakir, the wide receiver out of Boise State. This isn't the wide receiver that you would think that the Patriots would take, but also a fantastic yak guy, which is perfect for Mac Jones. So if the Patriots don't go wide receiver round 1 or 2, I think that this pick makes sense. So,
all right. Raiders' first selection on the draft here at 86 after getting the best wide receiver in football for the first 2 picks. Why did I combine 2 words there? Darian Kennard, the guard / tackle from Kentucky. I think this gives you another starter in the 3rd round, which is kind of ridiculous on the offensive line. But this way, he's either right guard or right tackle for you, just like Alex Leatherwood is either right guard or right tackle for you for this next year and the future. This is what they need on the offensive line. Their fronts are not great. I'm on the clock for Adam here at 87. The first offensive pick for the Cardinals is a center, Donovan West from Arizona State. He also could play a little guard. It's what he's going to be doing here. He will be a guard for this team, fighting for a starting position with Rodney Hudson, being the aging veteran, and he could possibly take over for him in the future. So good pick.
Yep, and then it's over to me at 88 for the Cowboys. We already had them take tackle, offensive tackle, as well as linebacker. So with the 88th pick, I had them taking Matthew Butler, defensive line out of Tennessee. He's a really good interior. He has really good speed, and he can develop into a really good interior pass rusher for them. And that would be really good to pair with Mike Parsons and their linebacking group.
Yeah, that's a fantastic pick. I am on the clock for the Buffalo Bills, who have Breece Hall and Channing Tindall thus far in this draft. I have them taking Alontae Taylor, the corner out of Tennessee. I'm high on this kid. He's a really, really good athlete, and I think that if he cleans up some of his technical things, he could be a starting corner for a long, long time in the NFL. I think the NFL is going to view it that way, although I don't know. He looks to be maybe a day 3 pick. I don't care. I reached and I took him.
All right. Titans at 90 with their 2nd pick of the draft. They got the best interior offensive lineman, the 1st pick, in Zion Johnson, in my opinion. That's one of their biggest needs. Corners, the other big need for them. I gave them Kobe Bryant here from Cincinnati. He was always a corner 2 in college. He would obviously be a corner 2 here. They have good young corners, but they all have injury history, so this is a good way to just keep developing that room and give yourself bodies. But he is very, very talented.
Yeah, shout out the NFL Stock Exchange podcast for their guest mock series, because the Titans guy is fantastic. I forget his name, but I need
most of their guests were incredible. I don't think there was a bad guest, but some of their guests were just outrageously informational. So just shout out,
for sure. All right, we're gonna zip through these picks, but the one thing I want to say for Adam's pick here for the Bucks is Kyle Phillips, wide receiver out of UCLA. Why? You don't need that. I don't think they need that. But the Bucks do this kind of shit, and Kyle Phillips probably will sneak into day 2 because he's a really, really good slot receiver.
They have a couple slots on the roster that haven't really broken out, and this gives them another chance to make sure that they have good receivers for the future with, Mike Evans' contracts and Chris Godwin's contracts being heavy on the board.
Yep. Right. So for me with the Packers at 92, I had them taking Troy Anderson, inside linebacker out of Montana State. This dude, this looks like if he would have played at a D1 school, he could have been a 2nd-round pick based on his intangibles and how he plays.
3-position All-American. Plain and simple. The Packers now have 3 good linebackers. I never thought I'd say that. That's ridiculous.
I like it. 49ers here at 93. I had them taking Zion McCollum, the corner out of Sam Houston State, the most athletic corner to ever test. So it sounds good. I don't think he's very good, but some team's going to bet on him. And why not the 49ers?
Yep. I get the Chiefs again, so they're going to get a good player. I give them Jelani Woods, the tight end for Virginia. He's going day 2, plain and simple, guys. He's the best Aria scoring tight end ever. He's not going day 3. Quit doing mocks of him going your 4th and 5th round. You're wrong. He's going in the 3rd round. He's still on the board for the Chiefs. They have Noah Gray, who they think is the future of the tight end. This gives them a for sure future of the tight end. Worst case, you have 2 futures, which is what they want anyways, with an aging Travis Kelce.
I really love how we gave the top athlete at their respective positions in back-to-back picks here in the 3rd. That's fun.
Yep. Rightfully so.
Yep. Sean Young.
Yep.
Well,
so Adam's pick at 95 was Zach Tom, offensive tackle out of Wake Forest. He projects probably best as a center, so he could probably potentially take over for a center under
Ted Karras. They brought in on a short-term deal, so that
he's
makes
a better
sense.
Guard anyway, to be honest. So this was a good pick. Sean. Yeah, on the clock.
Yep. Then it's back to me with the Broncos at 96. Now, I do know that they re-signed Melvin Gordon for a 1-year deal, but at the end of the day, that's a 1-year deal. And we kind of addressed a couple positions of need for the Broncos already. So with this pick, I have them taking Brian Robinson Jr., running back out of Alabama. He's 6'2", 225. He seems like he'd be the perfect pairing to Javonte Williams once it's eventually just those two. Javonte's the smaller back, and with Brian Robinson being the bigger back.
Overhyped. Plain and simple.
Big facts. Big facts.
You're not wrong.
I'll
This
go-
is probably
I'll go
where he's
fuck
going,
myself
John.
then.
No, this is where he's going.
No,
He's going around 3 or 4, but he's overhyped.
probably 3. The NFL loves guys like that. Helmet
Yeah.
scouters, I tell you. All right, Lions at 97. I have them taking Brian Cook, safety out of Cincinnati. Randy loves this pick. I know Randy loves Brian Cook. I didn't finish a grade on him. I'm embarrassed to say so because I hear
Yeah.
he's fantastic. So
This is the range for him, but this is amazing for the Lions.
yeah,
Uh,
their whole draft, them and the Jets, like sign me up for this.
Saints at 98. They get Isaiah Likely, the tight end from Coastal Carolina. There's a couple tight ends here I think they'd like. I think Jeremy Ruckert's better. However, they have that type of tight end, sort of, in Troutman and Nick Van Nett. They have the blocker and that guy. Let's give them the uber athletic tight end that they've been missing since fucking help me.
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
It
He's
doesn't
still on the
matter.
Bears
Move
when
on.
he shouldn't be.
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham. Yeah, they
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
had that athletic stud tight end on Jimmy Graham. He is definitely that. Isaiah Likely can help you at wide receiver as well, which is what they need desperately too.
Christian, do you want to just read off these last couple picks? Like,
Yeah, please.
Yes, we ran out of time. We almost did it. So 99, the Browns took Zach Carter, the defensive lineman out of Florida.
best
A
available.
lot of people really like Zach Carter. I'm low on him, and I think I talked about why on our defensive line episode. Ravens at 100, Alec Lindstrom, center out of Boston College. 101, Eagles, I gave them Zamir White, the running back out of Georgia. I think he's going to get drafted pretty highly. The NFL loves athletes, and especially 5-star ones. 102, Dolphins, Cole Strange, center out of Chattanooga. We didn't write that. I don't know why
I was
remember
doing
that.
it on my phone
Good work,
at a
Randy.
bar. My bad.
It's a really, really good value pick, and him to the Dolphins, best fit possible. Chiefs at 103, Damari Mathis, the corner out of Pittsburgh. Good range for him. 104, Rams, Chris Paul, the interior offensive lineman / right tackle out of Tulsa.
/ point guard.
Yeah,
Yes.
/ point guard.
If this
for
guy's
the
a point
Phoenix
guard, I'm
Suns.
running, bro.
Yeah, fact. And then last pick of the third round, the 49ers took Alec Pierce, the wide receiver out of Cincinnati. They low-key, no matter if they have Debo or not, need wide receiver. They just do. They
Yeah,
don't
I
have
originally
parents.
put David Bell there, who is a very talented receiver, but he does have a low athletic grade. They don't take low athletic grade receivers, so
Yeah.
they're taking Alec Pierce, who's almost a 10 at RAS.
Facts. That does it for our Mega Mock. Go check out round 1 that we did on Monday. It is uploaded on the podcast feed. This was a really, really fun time. Thank you majorly to Sean and Adam for sifting through these picks and kind of struggling through that third round, especially because the talent really kind of tapers off there. I think in the middle of the third, it's kind of like, okay, this is a day 3 guy, but
Yeah,
you
me
know.
and Christian, obviously, with over 100 prospects scouted, have a little bit of a heads up on you and Adam, who haven't had to arduously do that.
I was
so-
kind of grasping at straws down the
Yeah,
stretch
we
there.
definitely appreciate the effort from both of you to
I'll
actually
be-
get talented, worthy picks in those positions, not just the first guy you saw on a board.
I'll be back tomorrow.
Yes. Arguably, this is our best Mega Mock too. I think that we
Yes.
did a really good job of, doing some more further research. So,
Yes.
thank
Live
you,
stream.
Sean.
Live stream at 8.
Yeah.
Sean will be on at some point. Kevin will be on at some point.
For
Jeff will
most
be
of
on
the
at some
first round,
point.
if not all of it, depending on
Yeah.
when I get there.
Hopefully, we get Adam in for the Eagles picks if he can get out of bed.
Yeah, and TBD on anyone else. I think that's probably going to be the list of most of the guests. But that will do it for the Mega Mock episode. Thank you guys for joining us. Subscribe, all that jazz. We will be back for the draft tonight. For Sean Ward and Randy Hall, I'm Christian Williams. We'll talk to you guys later today. Peace.